Hi there everyone, and welcome back to a type of video that I haven't done in what seems like forever, honestly. It's a tier list, and I've done these for like all of the different countries in terms of Eurovision, and from like 1993 up until modern day. However, now that we've been doing watch-alongs on this channel for so long, and I've basically already been saying my opinions on pretty much every song that there is in the entire Eurovision catalog, I figured I'm gonna go through all of the songs that have won Eurovision, and I'm gonna try and put them into a tier list. So I've prepared one here. Well, there is a template already on the website tiermaker.com. However, I altered it around a little bit with the categories here. I got some inspiration from a member of my Discord server and a regular viewer called Henny by naming the categories for Eurovision songs, and I've decided to do that. I've done it almost perfectly. You see at the top we have song number one. I've kind of been thinking like, should I only have one song at the top category? And then I look at the songs and I think it's just going to be impossible. So we'll see how many songs end up there. I'm going to try keeping it as restrained as possible. Everything I Want, yeah, we can also just clarify the references. Song number one is Russia 2007. Everything I Want is Croatia 2002, I think. And Everything I Want basically means that this song has everything that I'm looking for, or everything I want to hear in a song, so I feel like it's perfect. It's just not my song number one. That Sounds Good to Me, a classic from the UK there, 2010. The song's just good, you know. Just Fine, this is the one where I've kind of cheated a little bit. This should have been a Eurovision song in 2018 for Latvia. They decided not to send Southern Lights back then, which wasn't fine. But their song back then was called Just Fine, so I decided to include it because it should have been a Eurovision song in my world. Then we have Pas pour moi, Switzerland 1986, which basically means not for me. And then we have the Rock Bottom, of course, the UK 1977. Songs that just no idea why they won, and I don't like them. And those will end up in Rock Bottom. I don't think there are going to be a lot of those, but maybe there's one or two. We'll see. But yeah, obviously also it's pretty important to clarify that even if I'm putting a song pretty low down here, it doesn't mean that I think it's bad or anything. I mean, you kind of need to have the approach of these all being winner songs and rank them based on that. I think every single song that have won Eurovision has qualities within them, and no straight up bad song has won Eurovision in my book, but some of them I like more than others, and I'll just have to kind of use that as a standard. So even if I'm placing a song in Just Fine, it's just fine for being a winner, I'd say. And it might be way higher on a tier list where I include songs that haven't won. However, we're gonna get right into it. There are a lot of songs. How many are there even? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 on each row and 5 rows. So that would be 70? Yep, 70 songs have won Eurovision. Oh my. Okay, it's gonna be a long one. I'm gonna try and be pretty brief on all of them, but you know that this video will be long, and I think you're already prepared for that. We're gonna start right from the start with Lys Asia, Refrain, Switzerland 1956. Of course, it's a classic just because it's the first Eurovision winner, but as a song, it's uninteresting in my book. It has a nice orchestration and all of that. Her singing voice is lovely, but melodically it's not up my alley. It doesn't really have any dynamic throughout, and it's just kind of quite pedestrian in all honesty. So this is a rock bottom right away. I'm sorry, but it's straight up a rock bottom. This isn't even not for me. It's just underwhelming for being a winner in my book. And yeah, I'm sorry, Liz, but you belong at the rock bottom. Bringing on a controversial opinion right from the start. That's exactly what I wanted to do. We have Netals Toen next up here from the Netherlands, 1957. Good winner, great instrumental, but mainly I think like that instrumental break in the middle of the song is very, very strong. Melodically, it's decent. It has a nice dynamic throughout. That sounds good to me. It's not everything I want because I wanted Denmark to win. I think that one has a more intimate tone to it. And even though I really like Netherlands 1957, I think you just have to put it in competition or in contrast with all of the other winners, and then I feel like it's not quite up there with my perfected songs, because the blue category here, I really think those have to be perfect, and this one is close, but not quite. I'll have to put a really high standard here to base it on. We have Dors mon amour by André Clavé from France, 1958. Still very strange that it won, of course, but it's quite it's just fine. I think. I mean, it's not something that I really dislike. I think it has character. I think it has charisma to it. Melodically, it's pretty decent. The orchestra is performing it well. Everything's just fine about it. For being a winner, it's a little bit underwhelming. I'm not gonna lie, but I still think it's quite fine. Mm. Yeah. In Beche, however, it's not for me. Papouin, I guess. Is it rock bottom? No, it's not rock bottom because it has character. Refrain doesn't have character in the same extent. I mean, Beche is charming, it's cheerful, it's joyous, and she's a wonderful performer. So the song is just simply not for me, but it's still, it's not a song that I really question why it won. I think this is quite reasonable, but it's just not for me. Moving on to Tom Pilibee. Tom Pilibee is quite pleasant. It has a wonderful tonal shift throughout the song, great melodies, wonderfully sung and wonderfully performed. And that sounds good to me, honestly. It sounds good to me. I of course prefer Monaco in 1960 because of the drama and the songwriting and suspense of that. But Tom Pilibee has a completely unique character to it, which I always admired. So that sounds good to me. Nous les amoureux is the next one up here. It's I think like this one comes across very in a very poignant manner in 1961 as quite a deal breaker within a very long stretch of rather underwhelming songs, and then this one comes along with its chugging percussion and just a little bit of subtle energy and a great character to it as well. Perhaps I kind of put Dors mon amour a little high here. No, we're gonna keep it there, and we're gonna actually throw in Nous les amoureux in just fine as well. It has a very nice tone to it, but it's not quite there. Or does it sound good to me? No, you know what? That sounds good to me. Yeah, it's a good winner. It's a good winner. Un premier amour, everything I want for sure. It's just the intensity of it, the restrained tones as well. It's very suspenseful. It's quite dark and wonderfully performed. It's everything I want. Danse Visa is almost even more than I want. I mean, how many songs am I gonna put up in song number one? I can't put that many up there, can I? No, it's everything I want. Danse Visa is just unique. It's a thing that completely stands out, especially within the year. It's wonderfully played on the guitar. It has a great melody, wonderful flow throughout the song as well, structured beautifully, and just the perfect kind of performance to it as well. The presentation is spot on. Camera work works in tandem with this as well. It's everything I want. It really is. Nonoletta is also everything I want. Beautifully sung. Has a very unique identity to the instrumental in it, especially those verses. And then the chorus has quite the intensity as well. It's a dynamic song in that regard. And I think the vocals kind of tie everything together as well, and creating a very smooth flow throughout between the sections, regardless of how what do you call it? Impulsive the tonal shifts in it are. Yeah, it's everything I want. Poupée de Cire, Poupée de Son is everything I want. It's such a kind of what do you say, like a very necessary song for Eurovision to actually have. Like this winning in 1965 was essential because we needed this boom of just energy, a fresh at the time pop song with just tons of fun, tons of energy, and great power behind it as well. It's in your face, it's explosive, it's a huge instrumental, and the vocal melody is catchy beyond words. It's the perfect package. Poupée de Cire, Poupée de Son could also almost be a song number one, in all honesty. I think probably like the vocal tone is a little bit... that's like the only thing that's kind of holding it back from being song number one, I think. It's a little bit too nasally. I feel like I'm nitpicking now. But yeah, it's everything I want. It still is. Merci Chérie. You know, it's not my favorite Udo Jürgens song, but I adore every single song that he's performed with in Eurovision. This one is no exception. It has one of the greatest piano arrangements in Eurovision that I know of. His delivery is sincere and very fulfilling. The song has a little bit of a tendency to be kind of reliant on the repeated merci, merci, merci. But it's kind of the character of it, the melancholy of it. Yeah, it's everything I want. Who am I kidding? It's everything I want. It really is. But I think that his song in 1965, it's superior, but it shouldn't. I mean, Popeda si Popeda song. It's good that there wasn't anything that I consider superior, I guess, to that extent in 1966. We'll see. But yeah, everything I want. Puppet on a String. I guess the upsetting part is that 1967 is one of my favorite years, and Puppet on a String is so far away from being my favorite song that year. Is it fine? Yeah, it's fine. But I'm kind of not a big fan of all of these circus sounds. You know what? For being a winner, it's Pas pour moi, honestly. A lot of circus sounds. It's cheerful, it's catchy, it's entertaining and enjoyable. It's a good performance, but as a song, it's not really something that clicks with me. And yeah, I wouldn't really consider it to be a very, I guess you'd say, worthy winner. I guess I get why it won. Absolutely. It's its own package, and it's absolutely unique, and it's fun. But there are better songs that year, so I'm bitter. Let me be. La 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 is another. This is, yeah, honestly, this is rock bottom. The hook is obnoxious, truly. The verses are great, a lot of drama to it, great vocal performance. It's a fun package as well, but the hook is obnoxious, and it has no business being one of the winners here. I'm sorry, but that's just how I'm feeling about it. No way. You belong in rock bottom. Vivo Cantando, however, does not belong in rock bottom. Catchy, uplifting, tons of energy, tons of fun, very danceable. Yeah, that sounds good to me, honestly. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Boom Bang Bang, no. This is another rock bottom, really. I feel like this is Puppet on a String without the charm. This is just annoying, and it's like so cheap. It tries to be so cheeky that I'm kind of just being put off by it, and the hook is rather. It gets pretty stale pretty quick for me. So no, I don't like it. It's not even a pas pour moi. It's just this shouldn't have been one of the 4 winners in my book. It's an unnecessary addition. Just my 2 cents. The Troubadour, however, is really good. That sounds really good to me. It's a little bit like too repetitive in its chorus, I guess, with the la 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 la. But instrumentally, it's really strong. The verses are very poignant in the emotional delivery of them. And yeah, I think that's probably the main selling point. Flows well as well. So yeah. Un jour, un enfant, I think this one's called. Probably my favorite out of the winners in 1969. I feel like I was a little bit too lenient on Vivo Cantando here, because the other 2 are better than it. Un jour, un enfant, probably actually everything I want. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna put it up there. I could have like done some kind of... I could have done like ordering them in the categories as well, but that would be way too much work. Maybe I'll just do a top video at some point in the future. But yeah, Un jour, un enfant is beautifully written, really. Builds impeccably well, has a great strong final chorus, and the vocals are really what sells it. The performance elevates the song so much. Listening to it in studio cut does not do the performance justice at all. Beautiful. Brilliant song, worthy winner in that year. 1970, All Kinds of Everything. This is a just fine, I'd say. It's very charming, it's cute, and has a nice storytelling to it. Strong performance as well, but it's just a little bit underwhelming compared to other winners, I guess. It's just kind of in the middle. It's fine. I don't have any qualms with it being a winner, but it's you know, it's not up there as one of the better ones in my book. It's fine. 1971, Une banque, un arbre, une rue, or something. Sounds really good to me. It's huge. It's a very grand song. Has a strong orchestra behind it and a good vocal performance and a very memorable chorus. Just kind of ticks all of the boxes, doesn't it? Nothing else to really be said about it, I guess. It's kind of an anthem, you know, and that sounds really good. Après toi, yeah, I mean, it's Vicky Leandros. It's a strong vocal performance. It's well written, but it's not one of these that really melodically stick with me. The chorus is a little bit too reliant on these elongated notes. It's fine. I wouldn't call it a pas pour moi, but it's fine. Yeah. Tu te reconnaîtras. This is a song number one. There's not even any doubts about it. The vocals are soaring, just going right through, pierces through the entire soundstage. The melody is out of this world. It's just one of these melodies where the first time you hear it, you just feel like this is one of these melodies where you feel like, how do they even compose something that comes across so simple but has that power to it, has that brilliant intonation, and it's just being, extended in that regard through the vocal performance and the harmonies provided by the instrumental. It's a massive, massive song. Anthemic, huge, grand, with one of the best choruses, like one of the choruses of all time in my book. It's brilliant, perfect in every sense of the word, and probably even, like, it could be my favorite winner out of all of these. It really could. Waterloo is, yeah, like, I can't put it in the same category as those other ones. It has to be a song number one, doesn't it? You know what? I'm actually gonna try and... Can I... No, let's song number one. Let me I can put like 3 songs in there. Waterloo has to be one of them. Brilliantly written, so creatively put together. The instrumentation is wonderful. Every instrument throughout the song is really being allowed a moment to shine, and they all work in tandem in creating the best overall instrumental delivery. Vocals, great, very strong, very well performed, just with the right attitude as well. And of course, is sing-along friendly. But what I really think sells it is the instrumental arrangement to it as well. It's brilliant. Ding a Dong is, I mean, they wanted to be Waterloo, but they weren't, I think. Like, this is catchy, but that's really all there is to it. I can't believe this is a winner. It's so strange to have it as a winner, especially after 2 of the best winners of all time. This is rock bottom. It has to be. Like, it's fun, it's catchy, but it's very repetitive. Instrumentally, it's not doing a lot. It has a very typical 70s sound, which I guess isn't a bad thing for its time, but it comes across as quite dated when you listen to it, like just 5 years after it was released. It's very much a thing of its own time, and it does not age the best in that regard, and it's overly repetitive. It has a chorus, and it relies on that chorus to the greatest extent, and that's not a winner in my book. Not what a winner should be. Even though it became a hit, of course. 1976, Save Your Kisses for Me. This is everything I want. It's performed just right. It has charm. It has a wonderful chorus melody that's so uplifting in its melody, and the instrumental goes hand in hand with that in terms of just the instrumentation mainly, I'd say. Like, the instruments used in here are perfected in creating just the right atmosphere and right tone for the song. So brilliant, everything I want. 1977, yeah, I'm not pronouncing this title correctly, but it's like Louis et l'Enfant or something like that. Brilliant chorus, builds very effectively, has a great melody, strong performance to it, nice layout on stage as well. It just ticks all of the boxes. Has to be everything I want, even though I have a different favorite in the year, but this one, you can't fault it. It's just the perfect ballad, really. Abani B has never been for me. This is chaotic, it's energetic, it's fun, but at the same time it's just over the top in my book, and I never really got along with I think mainly the chorus. The verses are a bit uninteresting to me. There's a section in the middle where it drags out the tempo a little bit and kind of relies on being more, I guess, sung in a pretty way and just dragged out a little bit and really kind of having kind of an emotional impact throughout that segment. But the chorus then comes back in and just reminds me that I'm not really clicking with it, and I guess that's a me issue, but that's why I'm putting it in Pas pour moi. So we're moving on. We got Hallelujah up next. This is fine. It's just fine in my book. It doesn't really come across as one of the more impactful winners, but it's a pleasant song, strong melody, nice harmonies. It's fine. Not really sure what else to say on it, and I feel like I can't stick around and speak volumes on every single song here because the video is going to be 1 hour long. We got What's Another Year up next. Johnny Logan, his first attempt, and a beautifully written ballad. Great input from the saxophone. The song flows beautifully well. It has a great chord interval, and he has a very sincere delivery. It's Everything I Want, and we're moving on to Making Your Mind Up, which this isn't a very well appreciated winner among many people, but I can't help but have fun listening to it and watching it. It's the whole thing, a complete package of fun and entertainment. You could complain about someone not singing particularly well. I mean, they sing well, but there are people who think one of them has a pretty annoying voice, and I get it. I completely get it. It's not the perfect thing, but it brings me a lot of joy and happiness, and I have a blast every time I watch it and listen to it. So that sounds good to me. Ambition Frieden. This could actually, no, okay, I'm gonna put it in Everything I Want. Because I feel like if I put it in song number 1, I have to put Poupée de Cire, Poupée de Son in song number 1 as well. And probably Nonoletta. Okay, yeah, we're just gonna keep it here. Everything I Want, it's beautifully written, it has the great message, it has this kind of impactful tone as well of it being a very young girl singing from the heart, basically, and doing it in the most beautiful way. I think the main standout part of the song is the finale. When everything is tied together, the instrumental becomes complete, and the vocal is really just top tier strength in being the emotional impact that it has. Flows very well, melody is memorable, and it's a hit, and it's a hit of emotional impact as well. Brilliant. 1983, Si la vie est cadeau. Strange song to be a winner, in all honesty. It's a strong year, 1983, in my book. It's a strong performance, this one, and it's quite decent, but I just can't see it in the great scheme of things to be, a winner. However, it's definitely more up my alley than the songs in the rock bottom. I feel like I'm actually gonna put it in just fine. It's a fine song. Like, I could absolutely listen to this at any point and just really kind of nod along and think like, yeah, this is good. It's absolutely good. It's just not much more than that, in my opinion, and it's a very strange song to have won. I think, at least, like, Israel was right there. Just should have given it to Israel. We're moving on. We got Herreys here. My Swedish bias will, of course, appear here when I'm talking about Diggiloo Diggiley. It's fun. It's pretty dumb. It's pretty fun, and but they have great harmonies, and the melody is one that sticks in your head. And I do like the horn section of the instrumental as well quite a lot in this song. It's definitely a tier below Making Your Mind Up, so I'd say just fine. It's another one that's very strange that it won, but it did, and we're living with it. La de Svinge. Brilliant Schlager, really like the first all-out Schlager to have won, I guess, and it does everything just right. It's all-out energy, and it's all-out just focus on fun. There's a lot of like fun songs around this era, I feel. La de Svinge, in my book, would probably be a Everything I Want. It's the perfect Schlager, or like Dansband Schlager. It's really just perfect in that regard, and it's a wonderful performance. They're charismatic beyond words. I have the time of my life. I sing along every time, and I never want it to end. Yeah, Everything I Want. J'aime la vie is not Everything I Want. This is a... Am I gonna be that hard? I mean, ironically, maybe I should just put it in Pas pour moi, just to kind of signify what song should have won in 1986. It's, of course, a completely unique song, this one, and performance, due to Sandra Kim being very young. The chorus is strong, the instrumental is very 80s in a good way. It's quite a decent package, and it's a simple pop song that just kind of works. But nah, I'm actually gonna put it in rock bottom. I don't really think that it should have won. Not at all. No, you know what? Pas pour moi. Just for the sake of it being it's not for me. Like, maybe, but the thing is that I feel like I'm not alone in thinking that this shouldn't have won. But I'll put it down here. Not for me. It's a little bit on the screeching side vocally as well, and even though I like the instrumental and I like the concept of it, I don't. It's a weird winner, I think. Hold Me Now. This is another one of Johnny Logan's masterfully written songs. Well, there aren't a lot of them because one that we'll get to later. Spoilers. But Hold Me Now is beautifully written, immensely performed. Like, you can really tell how much he evolved as a performer. This one is all about him. He knocks it out of the park brilliantly. I'd say it sounds really good to me. It's close to being Everything I Want, but it's not quite there. I can't put everything up there. I mean, we have a lot of good winners, but this is definitely among the stronger songs in that sounds good to me. But I'll keep it there for now. Maybe if I recorded this tomorrow, I'd put it up in Everything I Want. Who knows? Ne parti pas à moi. You know, it's Celine Dion. You just have to like it in a way. Vocally, it's mind-blowing. She's fantastic. The song has energy and intimate parts, does well in shifting between the two, but it's never a song that I really see myself return to. I think it's just fine, honestly. That might be incredibly controversial, and you're completely free to disagree with me, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I think that it's fine. It's a fine winner, and I'm completely fine with it, you know. I could listen to it at any point, but it's not something that I seek out to listen to. The vocals extend it to being more than it really is on surface level, I think. Rock Me. It's catchy. It's upbeat, and I'm quite fond of it. It has a nice instrumental to it as well. It's very, of course, very late 80s. The synth work is pretty strong. The drum machines are going all out, and the choreography is definitely fun as well. I'll say just fine on that one as well. You might be thinking that I'm crazy to put Celine Dion and Rock Me in the same category, but then I am crazy. We're moving on to Insieme. This is huge. It's a classic, of course. It's anthemic. Of course, rest in peace for Toto here. But it's a huge song, and it's anthemic, and it's sing-along friendly. Everyone is just being invited to being a part of this powerful message as well. It sounds really good to me. It's not Everything I Want. I think there are a few songs stronger in 1990 than this one, but it's a brilliant Italian ballad with a nice drive to it, and strong vocals as well. I guess the flow is probably what holds it back a little bit for me. Fångad i en stormvind, or it's called Fångad av en stormvind. I probably Fångad av en stormvind. Anyway, Carola here, 1991, Sweden, won on the tiebreak, of course, famously. Choreography is definitely fun. The song is very catchy. It's memorable. It's a classic in Sweden, of course, and I've always enjoyed it. It's another one that sounds pretty damn good to me. Why Me? This is like the most clear rock bottom out of everything in my book. This is the most formulaic ballad that I think we've had to win Eurovision. I do not see what's so special about it. The vocals are impressive. She's obviously very likable. I feel like maybe she got a little bit extra love because Johnny Logan wrote the song, and that Linda Martin finished... Did she finish third or second in 1984, I want to say? I'm not entirely sure. But it feels like this ballad does not do a win justice. There's definitely a sense in me that says that this one is just kind of because of the people surrounding it. It's not very engaging in terms of its writing. Um, the instrumental is of course quite grand, but I feel like it's building towards an instrumental that it doesn't really deserve to have, because it doesn't do itself justice in the way that it builds. And I think the instrumentation is slightly on the lackluster side throughout, before they really go quite explosive towards the end with all-out intensity. Doesn't feel like the song actually earns that finale, and the flow is rather static, I'd say. And I mean, Italy is definitely the one that should have run away with it that year, and not Ireland. Ireland, however, is a very deserving winner in 1993. In Your Eyes is well sung. It has a very powerful chorus to it. It actually earns its way there. The verses are melodramatic and sincere, and the vocals just work wonderfully for that. The lighting is immense as well, and it's just one of those choruses where you feel like this is the perfected ballad chorus, and it also follows a beautifully written verse. So this one isn't even. I'm gonna stretch and say that it's everything I want. It's only the thing, like 1993 is such a brilliant year that I don't have it towards the top of my list in 1993, but it's really everything I want in a power ballad. So you stay up there, Neve. You're welcome up there. Rock and Roll Kids is even better. I am very tempted, but of course it's gonna be my bias, and you can hate me all you want, but this is song number one material right up here. Just the way that they're not even thinking about incorporating an orchestra. This is all about them. Vocals, one piano, one guitar. That's it. We're gonna create the most beautiful and intimate listening experience that we can, and they do it spot on. It's a storytelling type of song. It really paints a picture lyrically. Melodically, it flows so well in an intonation that really works. The chord interval is spectacular. You've got the small detailing in both piano and guitar in how they actually color the song throughout by just playing like these small melodies, harmonizing with the vocals as well. It's the full package. It's two music lovers doing exactly what they love, and they've had a blast writing this, they have a blast playing it, and they just love what they're doing, and that comes across so clearly. I listen to every word, I listen to every note, and I take everything in, and I love every single second of it. It's perfect, it's brilliant, it's song number one, and Nocturne might actually also be song... You know what? We're gonna do it. Nocturne, also song number one. I feel like I'm... Yeah, let's do it. I'm just looking at the songs now. I feel like there's gonna be a lot of, not a lot of song number ones, but maybe more than I had planned. But anyway, Nocturne, the instrumental is what sells it. I love also how they've actually included, like, gone for the vocal style that they've gone for, because it fits this, what do you call it, otherworldly, magical atmosphere that they're really building and creating here. It establishes a very specific tone and just kind of goes all out for it. The entire instrumentation is really what sells it. Everyone plays their part beautifully, and how everything comes together in the end is just spectacular. Nothing short of spectacular. It has this really overwhelming feeling that I feel every time I listen to it, I get chills. And then you probably succeeded with your song. The Voice is going to join that category. You see, we're already up in 5 songs, and we got 25 years to go, give or take. But the vocal performance is really what sells it. Also the atmosphere, it has its own unique world to it. Like, the whole song is just surrounded within its own world building. You're really being, it's a transportive song, or a transformative one, where you feel like you're being taken out of your regular comfort of your seat, and you're being taken into this world where the entire listening experience just kind of overwhelms, at least me. And the vocal performance is probably the major part in that. Just the tone that Emir here can carry is really what gives me chills. And throughout the entire 3 minutes, I'm completely in a trance, I'd say. Beautiful. That's another song number one. Love Shine a Light, very strong winner. It's anthemic. It's a typical winner song, and it just works. You could understand why it had the point scoring record up until I think Lordi. Was it Lordi that smashed it, or was it Reebok? I don't remember. However, it's a song that united everyone, and everyone came together and just realized like, wow, this is an anthem and a half, and it's beautifully performed as well. It's not the one that I really return to that often. I enjoy it every time I listen to it, but it's not something I seek out. So just for that fact, I'd probably put it in That Sounds Good to Me. It's very similar to Insieme, I'd say, because it's just anthemic, it's kind of sing-along friendly as well, and it's one of these that can definitely give you chills just by how powerful it is. It definitely relies on how grand it is, and instrumentally it just works for that as well. You can hear how heavy the guitar work in this is. And yeah, that's really what sells it, I guess. Diva is up next. It's definitely, you know, a very clear indication of where Eurovision is being taken. This is the first real like contemporary pop song in terms of the 90s then, I guess, to take over the win. The drum machines are going crazy. The instrumental isn't really that varied or dynamic, but melodically it's quite catchy. It has a unique atmosphere, and it's a good performance. It just doesn't click with me. This isn't the song that I return to. So we'll go for a Pas Pour Moi on that one. Take Me to Your Heaven, another just straight up Schlager, which is quite strong. 1999 isn't really a year that I'm very fond of. Sweden was, like, in my opinion, definitely not the best song in that year. I don't mind the fact that Sweden won that year, but it's another Pas Pour Moi, I think. Like, it's a strong performance, and definitely when you watch the year 1999 and this one comes on, you feel like, oh, yeah, here we go. This you can understand why it won. At least I can. When you see the year, but just because it's a weak year does not make a winner better, in my opinion. So I'll put it in Pas Pour Moi as well. They can be there together, Diva and Take Me to Your Heaven. Fly on the Wings of Love is a fine winner. It's not much more than that. I do have the preference of Latvia in this year, of course, and Sweden for that matter. But it's a memorable song. It's a huge hit. Like it's been everywhere in Sweden, at least on the radio and stuff. And it's quite cute in terms of its delivery, I guess. But yeah, it's just all fine about it. It's a fine winner. I don't mind it. But it's not something that I really think is among the most noteworthy winners in the Eurovision catalog. But it's a good song. Everybody. You know, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's a performance that really is just there to allow people to have fun. As a winner, probably a Pas Pour Moi. It's just for the fact that like we're comparing it to different winners here, and then I would probably say that it's among the weaker ones. But it's not alone down there. So I Wanna is up next. This is just fine. Catchy. Very fun in terms of the whole winner catalog, that it stands out so much instrumentally and style-wise. It has a lot of tacky ideas throughout, and I think a lot of people consider it to be a very gimmicky kind of song. I think that it's much more than that. It's instrumentally very fluid. It's well arranged. I think like even though the structure is a little bit chopped up, that they actually work with that and make it into a charming point of the whole package. So I do enjoy that. And I think her charisma is top tier. The choreography works. It's just a fun performance, and I'm having a blast with it. So this is a fine winner. I do not mind that having won at all. In 2003, Every Way That I Can is another one of these, you know, just classic upbeat pop songs that became a hit. It was huge in Sweden. I know that for a fact. Probably around Europe in other countries as well. Probably mainly in Turkey, of course. It's memorable in terms of its chorus. I think sometimes the vocal style is a little bit not really up my alley, so I guess that would be the reason for being a Pas Pour Moi. Choreography is great. It's kind of a hypnotic instrumental beat as well, and I think that it's a good winner. Like it's a good song to have won. It's just not a winner that I really return to because of different parts of it. Like the vocal style is something that I don't really click with, so I'll put it there. Wild Dances is absolutely something that sounds good to me. This is intense. It's just all out chaos, really. It's a wonderful performance that just knocks it out of the park. The song is catchy. I feel like I say the word catchy a lot today. I'm gonna keep doing it probably. But it's a memorable hook and it builds so effectively. It's all out intensity throughout. The percussive work in this is mind blowingly strong. And yeah, just a great all rounded winner. My number. You know what? No, we're putting it in everything I want because my number one is going to be placed in That Sounds Good to Me. This is a strong, straight up pop song. Strong chorus, great verses to it as well. It builds effectively. It does everything that it wants to do. It doesn't need to be flashy or out there in any regard. It just is a strong, well written pop song with the kind of, what do you call it? Um, not a foreign vibe to it, but you know the ethnic tone to it. It has the Greek stamp on it, which it definitely utilizes to its favor. So yeah, good pop song, all around strong entry. So yeah, a great performance as well. Hard Rock Hallelujah. Yeah, it's just iconic. I'm not gonna put it higher than That Sounds Good to Me because it's not up there as one of my favorite songs, but it's very powerful and it's also quite wacky in terms of its performance, which works in its favor. It's all part of the full package. The song is all out rock, all out intensity, just completely overwhelming in terms of its instrumental. The guitars go incredibly hard, the drumming is insane, and the vocals are, of course, just very in your face, and they all work kind of to create a performance that has a little bit of a gimmick, but also has quite a lot of professionalism to it as well. It's not like one of these meme songs or whatever. It's straight up, well written, intense rock song with a, let's say, characteristic performance and group behind it. Molitva is a very strong Balkan ballad. It's packed with like sorrow and sadness. It really comes across right from the opening. Beautifully written, wonderfully performed. It's very grand, and it actually earns that grandness as well. It's probably everything I want. I'm soft for Balkan ballads at the beginning, and this one just does everything right. So I can't complain. Believe is fine. It's a fine winner. I know a lot of people really hate this one, but I don't mind it. It's one of the. It's not one of my favorite songs in that year, but it's probably in my top 10 personally. And it does exactly what it wants to do. It's a well written ballad. It's very contemporary for its time. Great production to it actually, and vocally it's quite strong as well. Do prefer it in 2008 rather than when he performed it in 2009 as a Michael Jackson impersonator. However, in 2008, I think the performance was great. The staging was creative to a degree as well, and really, left an imprint. So it really works. It's a fine winner. I don't have any issues with it. Fairy Tale is everything I want. This is a classic. It just knocked everything out of the park in 2009 in my opinion. And just that violin hook, it's still imprinted in here. I will never forget it. It's just impossible. And the chorus is loud. It's memorable. It's fun. It's one of these that you can just shout along to, and I mean, especially after a few a few drinks, this could absolutely be the one that gets my throat going even more than anything else. I don't know how to use a better expression. Get me in the mood for singing more than anything else. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, one of the greatest sing-along songs ever. I guess. Satellite, no. Pas pour moi. It's fine to a degree, but I just feel so weird. Like 2010, it's modern times. This is a quirky little pop tune, performed with charm for sure, and performed with kind of like this quirky, relatable tone to it. The vocal style is almost off-putting to me, honestly. It's memorable, but and a little bit of fun, but it's just so weird to see it as a winner. It doesn't work for me. My mind can't really get around the whole thing. So, Not really for me, that one. Running Scared, it's, it's pretty, I guess. Not much more. Yeah, you know what? As a winner, it's absolutely rock bottom. This one has a reputation of being one of the worst winners, of course, um, and I guess I'll sign on to that. It's not the worst, absolutely not, but it's just strange to have as a winner. It's not very impactful. It's not very catchy, in all honesty. It's not very well sung. Doesn't really use the harmonies very well either. Instrumentally, it's a little bit lackluster. Everything is just quite pretty. The staging is okay, like the lighting and everything. And the song has a good flow to it, but it's very middle of the road, and especially for being a winner, I can't really grade it any higher than that. Euphoria is yeah, it's a song number one. It's the opposite of Running Scared. It's everything that the contemporary kind of song should be. I mean, of course, this one isn't a ballad. It's very inspired by house music, of course, in the early 2010s, and really has the wonderful sound design to it. It's punchy. It's very energetic. Really has that kind of I mean, I guess kind of a nightclub vibe to it, while also having an emotional core to it. Vocally, it's out of this world, just mesmeric in terms of its delivery. The choreography is top tier, the lighting is wonderful, the whole stage concept, everything is just perfection to it. And the song has that chorus as well that, like Fairy Tale, I guess, is the one that I can shout the loudest to possible. It's a song that gets me going every time. Brilliant. Only Teardrops is a fine winner. I don't think I'd consider it to be much more than that, honestly. I like the fact that it won, I really do. And I think that it's very kind of just well put together in every regard. It has some unique parts in it. The flute works nice. The song builds very effectively. There's a lot of attention paid to the percussion throughout, and it builds effectively with that. And the chorus is memorable and also has quite an uplifting tone while also having some kind of serious undertones to it as well. It's fine. It's a good song. It's well written. I hate describing something as just a good song, but that's really what I'm feeling about this. It's everything that it should be. And if you think that it should have won or not, it's not up to me to decide, but I don't mind it as a winner at all. I think it's a fine winner. Rise Like a Phoenix, it's very grand. It's also quite anthemic, I guess. It's fine. I don't have many very passionate thoughts about that one. I think it's fine. It's a song that sounds like a winning song, and it won. It's not out there particularly much in terms of its writing. Has a little bit of a Bond-esque vibe to it, I guess, and of course the vocals are strong. And then also you add the fact that it's a unique performer, I guess, that grabs a lot of attention. And you put all of that together, and it's a perfectly suitable winner. But it's not a song that I really return to ever, in all honesty. Heroes sounds really good to me, has a great performance to it as well. The staging is very strong, and particularly for being 2015, hadn't really seen anything like it before in Eurovision, that is. And they really utilized that to the best effect. The song is kind of like a lighthouse pop song that just was very, very popular at the time, and it's very much a thing of 2015. I do not think this would have won even 2 or 3 years later, but in 2015 it was just right in the time, and it's still today a very strong pop song in my book. And Måns Zelmerlöw is a very capable performer for that song as well. Jamala 1944, I have to. I have to. It's probably the most heart-wrenching and punch-in-the-gut kind of song there is. Beautifully, visually stunning on stage. The vocals knock it out of the park. It's haunting in the best kind of ways. The verses are definitely utilizing the drum machine, or basically just the sound production of the drums or percussion in it is quite haunting, really. And then that chorus incorporates all of these woodwinds and strings in just creating a very overwhelming atmosphere and ambiance. and that final chorus is just like a we call it like a knife to the heart, really. Kind of aches just listening to it in a good way, if there is such a thing. Yeah, beautiful. It has to be in song number one, and for me, Amar pelos dois. You know, it could also. Mm. I'm going to only put it in everything I want. I don't know why, but I'm putting it there. I feel like I have too many songs in the top category, but this is a song where everything stops. This is all about him for 3 minutes. There's nothing else I can even remotely try and think about when he performs it. It's all about him. His delivery is sincere, it's intimate. The orchestra, or well, it's obviously not live played, but the orchestra that have put together the studio cut is um, like flawless, very dynamic as well. There's a constant movement within the whole instrumental, and the song is really like holding on to every single note, and there's a careful adaptability throughout the song that places everything just where it should be. Brilliant. Toy has never been for me, however, I do appreciate the approach that they went for with this one. It's definitely a thing of just the modern terms of producing, like the modern takes of producing music. A lot of focus on vocal chops, just editing mainly in terms of the digital audio software. There's a lot of like short, I guess, like brief clips and sounds, and putting all of it together in creating a very intense track altogether. It's very detailed in that sense, and then what I never really liked is that they play it off as mostly a joke, and that has never really been my cup of tea. I understand why they did it. I mean, they ended up winning even, and it's a wacky song in that regard. I don't care much for this kind of wacky songs, but the instrumental qualities within it, I think, just kind of deserve to not be put in rock bottom. But it's not a song for me because I don't really sign under this whole thing of just acting like a chicken and making silly facial expressions throughout the show. No, not for me. We're moving on to Duncan Lawrence here, Arcade. Beautifully written again. It's a very well written ballad altogether. Wonderful how it's mainly focused around the piano, but then the choruses have a very different instrumental approach. It's quite digital. It really utilizes percussion effectively. It's strong in terms of its percussion. Also love the small detailing, especially in the first verse where the piano is entirely cut out and the electric guitar takes over, and then they work in sync, building towards the first chorus. It works really effectively. It's hard-hitting. It's very, very melodically pleasing, I guess you'd say, and it's beautifully sung and beautifully staged. The staging on this one is brilliant, and the camera work as well. It's everything I want. It truly is. Zitti e Buoni, of course, Italy's win in 2000. Oh yeah, we didn't have it 2020, of course. Yeah, that's right. 2021 here. Zitti e Buoni, strong performance, all-out intensity with her in terms of the song as well. It's well written. I love the guitar work in it. I think the bass works as well. It builds very effectively. The drumming, everything works very much in sync within the band, and it's quite a playfully arranged song in terms of its writing. Chorus is a little bit on the repetitive side. I don't really mind it, but I think the verses are probably the standout parts of the song, in my opinion, and the guitar riffs. Sounds good to me. It's a good one. Good winner. Stefania, also a good winner. Very fond of this one. Incredibly catchy hook to it. Pretty strong performance as well. I do really like them on stage and how they also really perform together. They're definitely part of a group and they work in unison with each other very well. It's a memorable chorus with a very dramatic tone to it while also being very, very catchy and sing-along friendly. The kind of, I'm just going to call it a flute for convenience sake. The flute hook is very, very memorable and is one that I can tag along to anytime, particularly with how it also works with the backing beat to it. It's definitely a song with top-tier production to it. and it just works. The polishing within the mix here is very, very tangible, and full package, definitely. Sounds really good to me. Not quite everything, no, not quite everything I want. I'm not going to put it there. Or am I? No. Am I? No? Am I? I don't know. I'm really looking like at the songs. I feel like... No, you know what? We're putting it up there. And here's another controversial take from me. I'm putting Tattoo up here as well. I know, people don't think that Tattoo has a lot of depth to it. I tend to disagree. Lyrically, I don't care. I never care. Or, well, I rarely care about lyrical content and whatnot. And I understand that people are upset that this one tries to be more emotionally loaded than the lyrical content suggests. However, instrumentally, it is definitely emotionally loaded because it has a sound design that just has a very tranquil feel to it, while also having a lot of depth, substance, and quite a dynamic approach to it as well. It's a sound design mainly, I think, within the synth work and the plucks that become very dynamic within the backing track of mainly the bass and the drumming. It's just a very kind of split up or contrasting song instrumentally and production wise. I think the production quality of it is probably the top tier that it absolutely could be. It's, you know, a full 10 out of 10 in terms of production, might even be an 11 because it sounds impeccable. Especially like studio cut, you put on the headphones. It's just one of these listening experiences that overwhelms me every time because of how perfected the mixing is and the mastering. It's loud, it's expressive, and the vocals kind of just elevate that to an even further degree. Staging wise, it had its own concept. It's unique. The lighting works very well, and when the smoke machine didn't cover the entire screen in smoke, it looked stunning. So full package for Tattoo as well. I'm putting in everything I want. It was everything I wanted from a Loreen comeback, and yeah, it has no. I have no business placing it in a different category. This is my tier list. When I'm looking at it now, I would probably like to move things around, but I've put them there, and I'm gonna stick with it. And you're free to disagree completely how much ever you want. And now you've been watching me talk for 1 hour, and you're probably incredibly sick of my voice. My voice is very sick of talking. Do share some things about your tier list in the comments if you want to. You could write out all of the songs if you want to in the comments, or you could just stick to the ones that you think are the most standout and ones that I need to know about. And you're also free to tell me how wrong I am on everything, as long as you're doing it in a civil manner. Lovely to be back making another tier list, even though it was the longest one that I've ever made. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble yet again. Take care of yourselves until I see you next time. So bye for now.